which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen.
Okay, approval of the agenda. We are adding items 15, 16, 17, 18. They have to do with the street project. Any other additions to the agenda? For a motion to accept the,
So move. Second.
Tim?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes. Okay. Approve the October 10th, 2003 meeting minutes. I understand there's a little correction.
Yes, on the first page for the gaming site authorization, there was a motion, but there was no second, so I have added that Simon seconded, and then upon roll call, all members present voted aye, motion carried.
Okay, so I would move that we would approve the amended minutes.
Second. Okay, questions? Tim?
Yes. Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
Yes.
Or
Yes.
corrected minutes, I guess.
I don't know, I did not get October financials, did anybody?
They weren't in there?
No,
The cash report wasn't?
they weren't in the, I looked online too, they weren't there either.
Why didn't you tell me prior?
Well, I didn't look until later in the afternoon. So, anyway, so that will be, we'll just kind of skip by that one, I don't know. Waiver of fees, Lions Carnival. So March 22nd and 23rd, 2024.
This is what they do every year, correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
I would so move.
Second. Discussion? Tim?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes. Waiver of fees, homeschool co-op class.
Yeah, do you want to come up?
No.
They do a printout for you guys. I don't know what you need for, just kind
Sure.
of what
Thank
we're
you.
thinking.
Sorry, I didn't know you were here for that.
That's o-
Because I don't know who you are. so.
That's okay, that's no problem. I wasn't exactly sure. I was like, okay.
Hey, can you just state your name so it's on the record? So-
Yes, my name is Katrina Winterberg.
Okay.
So I will be representing the Washburn area homeschool community. We've used the hall a couple times before, and we are possibly needing to use it a couple more times. We are looking at obtaining a permanent location. However, we do not know when it is going to be ready yet. So it's either going to be sometime after Christmas, or it could be in the spring. So we're looking at, for sure, possibly renting out November 30th. I think we already actually have that in the books. And
Yes.
then December 1st, 8th, and 15th, tentatively. We have our meeting on Thursday about exactly what dates we're going to do for that. But we are wondering if we would be able to do it, to use facilities fee-free. We are a nonprofit, like, technically, because there's no, it's just basically, it's a group of the homeschooling families from surrounding areas that come together every Thursday, 9 to noon, and we have like a structured either play or curriculum for our kids to do together. And like this month we're doing like home ec stuff, so we're doing some cooking and baking and all this. And yeah, so again, we are working on a permanent location, so like us using the hall would not be a permanent thing. We are just wondering if it's a possibility for the fee to be waived for the times that we are going to do it, just to kind of save on some cost for our families that are a part of it.
You're gonna need the kitchen then?
We used it last week. We may end up using it on the 30th. We're not 100% sure yet. In December, there is a chance we might need the kitchen as well. We've been bringing the stuff pre-cooked, and it makes it a little bit easier, so kind of all we need is counter space for the most part. But so we probably won't be using appliances, but just like the kitchen area in itself for washing and stuff like that.
So you don't make any money, but you're not a registered nonprofit, correct?
Right, correct. Yeah,
Right.
I didn't know a better term for nonprofit, yeah, we're not a registered nonprofit, but we don't, like, nobody is making money off
Right.
of the,
Yeah, because there's a difference there, so.
okay,
Right.
yep.
This is similar to, was it last month or the month before with, Mrs. Hoff, thank you, for the use of the hall, and what we did there is we had reduced it to $10. So I think we need to stay consistent in that, so.
I agree.
Yeah. Thoughts, commissioners? It looks-
I'm abstaining, my wife's part of the group,
Oh,
so that's
okay.
okay. Not me.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a pretty, I think, pretty apples for apples comparison, so I would move that we would reject the request for this year, but we would reduce the fee to $10 per time to stay consistent with our past practices.
Okay.
So,
We have a motion, we have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion for anybody? Tim?
yes.
Yes. You're abstaining?
Yes.
Yes. Very good.
Thank you.
Well, thank you guys very
You're
much, I appreciate it.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Local gaming permit, that's unlimited.
So they do this, they've done this like every year too, right?
Yeah,
Just about every year.
they're ahead of the game this year.
So yeah, they rent the hall and everything, so,
So they're just looking for the gaming permit to be okayed.
right, yeah.
And it appears to be in order when I look through it.
So it should be on February 24th.
Yep.
I motion to approve.
I second. Okay. Further discussion? Tim?
Yes.
Peggy?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes. Local gaming permit, little hooligans? Apparently they're having a raffle, January 2nd, or that must be the date they're drawing, I'm guessing.
Yes, they will do the 50/50 drawing on January 2nd.
I take it they're the new owners of Tiny Toes then?
They are the new owners of Little Hooligans, yes.
Oh, that's down.
But,
It's over there.
yeah, it is the daycare.
I'd move to approve it.
Second.
Yeah.
Further discussion? Tim?
Yes.
Jamie?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes. Western Park Board, Brock and Mark. I'm going to discuss the joint powers.
Eddie?
Brock.
Sorry, Brock.
I apologize, I only printed off.
I think we all have copies.
You all have copies though?
Yeah.
The only I added to it was just a kind of just a quick summary. If you haven't had time to look over it, you're more welcome to. Otherwise, pass it on again.
I'm fine. I have.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Well, obviously y'all were sent that, I guess to y'all's attorney and stuff, the joint powers agreement. I know we've all approved on our side as far as being done with the whole, trying to look for, extra expenditures and that kind of stuff like that nature, so that could be done with it. And I know it's moving forward, like maybe just have a sign the joint powers agreement. It may not mean much, but I mean, it's kind of an effect to be dealing with everything, even though, I mean, for the 20% state aid.
And did you say that you guys have approved the acceptance of our check for the back payment of state aid?
We have cashed it, correct?
But I mean, you guys said you approved of it, correct? So you go on record as saying...
From what my understanding is, if we accept, or essentially cash a check or send in the bank, is essentially where we're kind of waiving our right to any further proceedings, I would assume with that nature.
Okay. If I may proceed. Okay. I've read this 4 or 5 times over the last month or so. First of all, I visited with David Lindell again today.
Okay.
In your September 13th Washburn Park Board minutes, you had got up and read an email from your lawyer, Justin Hagel, and I won't read the whole thing, it's just a short paragraph, but in here you said that he had visited with the city attorney, Mr. Lindell, and Mr. Lindell expressed that he did not feel the agreement was necessary. And I guess that is my take on it. I can't speak for the rest of the commissioners, because in the Century Code, I believe this is 57-392-26, the city already is bound by law to pay you the portion of a 1996, which as far as they could go back was the 20%. And that's why the city is paying you the 20%, you know, and it was a human error, it was a correction, it was done before Chelsea was done here, there's nobody to blame, although there's been plenty of accusations, there's nobody to blame. I want to state that tonight. So anyway, this here, and when I visited again with David, he said makes no sense, because it's like the speed limit is 25 in town, but I'll pick on Lad tonight, so he's gonna go door to door and have us all sign an agreement that we're gonna drive 25 miles an hour. It's already the law. The problem I have with this joint powers, there's more in it here than just what you're asking for. If you go in here, it talks about the sole purpose is for this 20%. But if you go to the paragraph above, it contradicts it. It says, for the cooperation, joint administration, and power and function that is authorized by law assigned to either party, which applies to federal, state, funds from public or private sources, parties for furthering the purposes of the agreement. It's a lot broader than what the sole purpose says to, so that's a contradiction. Another thing here, when you get down to the bottom of it, it says both parties agree to set out of the defined share of the 20%, you know, which we agreed to. But then you get to the bottom here and it says severability. And I know I'm butchering all these legal terms, lads, so I apologize. But here it says, the invalid or unenforceable provision shall be deemed severed from the remainder of the agreement, and the remaining paragraphs shall remain in full force and to the effect of their fullest extent of the law. So like I said, this thing here is not chocked full, but it has plenty of other things in here besides the 20%. Do you know how to get out of this thing? It's a mutual agreement.
Yeah.
Nobody in their right mind would get into this as a mutual agreement.
Correct.
You know, because you're basically bound by the other person. So to me, the thing is pointless, and I'll be a little bit blunt, and a waste of time because it's not needed. And like David said, you're already bound to do what you're doing. So our advice from our attorney is a no.
Okay.
And with that, I will make a motion that we do not sign a joint powers agreement because we are already bound by the Century Code to do it. And this here actually would be more restrictive than what we're doing here because it has more things in here than just the 20%. And another thing I learned at a school board convention one time is that you need, pardon me?
Excuse me a minute, did you make a motion?
Yeah, I'll get there, so.
Okay, you haven't made the motion yet?
Not yet.
Okay, very
Yeah,
good.
I'm sorry if I threw the
That's
term
what it
motion,
sounded like.
because you'd still be
Okay,
writing
yeah,
an hour
yeah.
from now.
That's what I heard.
I stopped now.
Yes, and I probably did. But you look forward. You look forward to how could this affect future commissions, and I think it would be a hamstring. So with that, there's no need for this. So I move that we not sign this joint powers agreement. So.
Nope, we have a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, now discussion.
Yep.
Mark, you raise your hand.
Yep. Can somebody explain to me why the emails between your lawyer and the mayor were kept from the commission?
What emails between our lawyers?
Talking about for over 6 months, we've been trying to work out this joint powers
May I
agreement.
interject something here? This is not pertinent to whether we vote
Well,
on it. It isn't.
Excuse me?
No, excuse me.
Yeah,
The discussion, usually in a motion and a second, is limited to the commission.
okay.
So
I have a point.
I have a point to make too. So in proper order, this is not pertinent to the discussion of whether we go with it or not. The only communication I had came from Brock in your minutes. So,
Okay, this contained to the the park board's point from our lawyer to David Lindell of why the park district feels that we need this joint powers agreement, if you allow me to read that?
Well, that,
I mean, it's the person on the agenda trying to make a case for the item. Like, just because we motion second doesn't mean we can shut down conversation. So in my opinion, we should let him speak.
go ahead, you got a couple minutes.
Thank you. Okay,
But before you begin, I would like to point out that David and I have not shared emails. David Lindell.
with the commission?
No, you said between the mayor and David Lindell, is what you said.
Oh, I'm sure.
That's what you said.
Whatever you shared information, but it wasn't shared with the commission. That's what it was.
I'm not sure where you're going, but go ahead.
Okay. This is to David Lindell. I pointed out, and this is the response to the Park District. I pointed out, Mr. Lindell, that my knowledge of the city and the Park District have never reached any agreement as a different distribution of state aid. And without any such agreement in place, what authority is the city using the determination of state aid funding? He indicated that he believed the 20% since 1996 was indicated in the statute. As you know, the Park District members, do you have information as to the amount of state aid received in 1996? And was that amount 20%? Okay, it goes on. Regardless of the 1996 figure, I pointed out it would be simpler to have an agreement in place ratifying the figure going forward to avoid any disputes. He believes the city is interested in that action and expects the Park District to remind the city that state aid funds should be distributed if they do not get a check. I pointed out that I don't believe it should be the obligation of the Park District to notify the city, and that the city has the obligation to provide state aid to the Park District as a required notice of receipt of state aid and distribution of funds. Should the obligation of the entity that actually knows when the state aid is distributed and stands to benefit from withholding those funds. I indicated that notice and disbursement timing should be included in a joint powers agreement to avoid this problem in the future. Frankly, the position of the city is unreasonable, as we already have the current case where the Park District was provided funds an amount the city chose to provide and not based on full history of funding shortfalls between the parties. We ultimately agree that I can draft a simple proposal for state aid disbursement for the city to consider, but no compromise that the city will sign an agreement even though it would change nothing before the current parties. Relationship and obligations and simply the current practices between the parties. I do not want to create animosity between the Park District and the city, but something does seem amiss that the city has not desired to enter into an agreement to do what is believed is currently obligated to do at no expense to itself. If you wish to discuss this further at a special meeting to hold an executive session, I can provide my availability. Otherwise, I will begin drafting a proposed agreement to be considered by the city at its next meeting. Mr. Lindell indicated he would be out of the office until next Wednesday at the earliest. I do not expect any further updates at that time.
When was that written?
June 21st.
Okay, and when did you guys, when did you accept that check from the city?
Another thing is, if you read in, you guys asked for our May minutes, I believe that's where we accepted it. On that proposal, we accepted the $90,000 amount with the approval of the joint powers agreement.
What? No.
Say that again.
no,
That's
no,
not right.
That's not true.
That's not it. It was not with the approval of that.
Nope.
It's in our minutes. Sweet.
Are we misunderstanding? Because we never agreed. But I do believe I've
Correct.
read those minutes, and it does say that they wanted to have that agreement.
It says something about pursuing an agreement. It doesn't say contingent on an agreement.
Right.
The motion was to accept the check at the 90-some thousand, and it paid monthly, and then they talked about a direct deposit, and then it was to pursue moving forward with a joint powers of agreement between it. But it was not specifically stated within those meeting minutes that it was combined.
Okay, so it's like a separate line. I remember both of them in there. but-
Yes.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Any further discussion?
So what are you saying exactly?
We're hoping a joint powers agreement will keep this from having this mishap again.
It's century code. We have to follow century code.
What are you gonna do if it goes to 30% in the next legislative assembly?
It wouldn't, because the parties both have to agree on it.
But I'm just saying, they'd be
No,
out,
it's a
they,
mutual thing, though.
what I'm
Yeah,
saying though,
that's
Keith, is that they'd be out 10%.
And you're locking in for 20 years,
But
too.
the state legislature does not determine the.
That's
percent.
hypothetical.
The two
My
parties.
point
Yeah,
is
according to
that
that,
if
it's
you-
not.
if you stay with the century code
Said
and it
20
goes
years,
to
but it's not
30%,
changed. That's
the
hypothetical.
park board would miss out on 10% because they're bound by a.
But that's a
Right.
high-
Wouldn't they amend that century code? And if so, that same century code is referenced, so wouldn't that kind of follow it?
Well, right now, we're bound by the century code for 20%,
We're not even bound by century code
20%.
for 20%.
right.
We're bound by century code for what they received in 1996 for state aid. Nobody has those figures. So what we based off this 20% was 1 year. That's it. That was the only year that we could find in our records, and I don't know if they ever went back to look in theirs. What we could find, it was based off of 1 year. It's the only year that at that time it was quarterly payments, what was received quarterly to what was paid out quarterly to match it up was 20%. So theoretically, we're not even bound by 20%. That's just the 1 year we went with, and that's what we've gone off of. The century code states it is between 0 and can go up to 30%, or whatever the two parties agree upon. So the 20% was just a 1 year. If we find documentation from 1996 that it was different, we can change that amount. Not to say that, we would, but I'm just saying, this 20% is not what we're bound by, because that's just the only year we could go by. The century code, if we're referencing that specifically, it says 1996.
So to back pay them up to date, use the 20%.
Correct.
But going forward from here, it could be from anywhere from 2% or 0% to 30%, is that?
If the commission wanted to change that, yes.
Right. So, shouldn't there at least be something on record to agree that, if we're gonna go forward with 20%, shouldn't there be something documented that that's what it is at this point?
That makes sense. whether
But
it's
do you
20%
want,
or whatever.
wouldn't it be more prudent to leave it up to the future commissions to decide, even if they do it on a yearly basis? You know what I'm saying? Otherwise, you're hamstringing future, let's say that things get tougher. But
by doing this, if you put it, like, say, in a home rule charter or something, that at this point, it's voted at 20%.
We cannot change the home rule charter without an election.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
That has to be by the vote
For
of the
this
people.
commission on a yearly basis to say, okay, for calendar year such and such, we're gonna give 20%, that would be one thing. But to hamstring the rest of the commissions for the rest of the time, I'd rather put it in their hands to decide. They'd have to give something, it's in here. And right now it's at 20%, which I don't have a problem
The
with.
thing is, the research has been done, it's been 20%,
Yep.
and we've been going off that. Now, Charlie got this figure of 20%, it's been for years and years and years.
That's been the
And
past
it will
practice.
continue to be that way. I think this agreement is like Tim says, there's a lot of stuff in there that really does pertain.
That have nothing to do with this.
you know.
There's too many other variables in here that would bind us to something we wouldn't want to be bound to.
All right, so, okay, real quickly, because we need to move on.
Is there anything that you would like changed for legality to
Actually,
approve it?
I can answer that. We just simply go by the Century Code, because that's what we're bound by. We don't need to change anything. We're already bound by the Century Code to do it. And that's what, since
But I'm talking about a point.
since the error has been found, we are proceeding forward, paying you every month, and it's at the 20%. Now, as time changes and things change, can I guarantee a commission won't change that? No. But I don't think, I could never vote to set in place something for future commissions, you know, because I've seen that happen before. You know, it's not a good way to do government or business.
Okay, we're gonna move on. So, anybody else have any comments from the commission?
I just think whether it's not this, just something where the actual percent would be stated. Because then in the future, you'd be able to actually look back in that instead of having 3 weeks of office work to try and figure out what percent it is.
Okay.
Just a simple sort of percent.
I hear what you're saying, but that would be for another day.
Mhm.
This is about this.
I mean, about the joint powers
it is
agreement.
a comment
About the
on
joint-
this.
I know, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
but that would be for another discussion
Of course,
another day.
right.
So,
And at the beginning of our budgetary cycle, that would be an appropriate time to do it.
yeah.
So,
Okay, I think we're ready to vote. So we have a motion to deny the joint powers agreement, is that correct?
yes.
Okay.
Do you want to read that for me, Chelsea?
Yes, I just have that you motion to not sign the joint powers of agreement,
Right.
Okay.
and Simon seconded it.
Okay,
Yep. Yes.
all right, Tim, yes, Jane?
No.
No, as well.
What? You're voting to not sign it?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay,
No, not to sign it.
so you're voting yes?
You're voting yes,
Yes,
means not
yes,
to
not
sign.
to sign.
Okay.
You had me all
so
confused
just
there.
to be clear,
Excuse me, are you leading the?
no, because I knew what he was confused. I'm not leading anything, he was confused. So,
I just read the motion, just let him.
Yeah,
yeah,
so
read the motion.
Doctor moved to not sign the joint powers of agreement.
And I seconded,
You seconded it. So how are you voting?
not to sign it.
Okay.
Which should be a yes.
That'll be a yes, and I will vote yes. Thank you guys for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Yep. Thanks, Brock. Yes, sir.
Lad, come on up. First state your name.
Thank you. I'm Matt Erickson. I'm here for the couple issues. I had asked for 2 issues on the agenda that are related, but it can all be covered by the one that's on there. So I just want to update you on something that's related. We've been working through this county with the water board on the Painted Woods watershed project. Purchased some more land down there. There's some flooding problems. We had to do that. Because we had a number of people at the table, federal agencies, state agencies, we are trying to maximize the rec value down there. We've got grants through the Industrial Commission, Outdoor Heritage now to make the creek system fish passable. We've started a game and fish stocking program on it now. Fishing has really improved by the bridge down there in the last few years. We started putting walleyes in now. They're going to put a full tank of them in going forward. The new land that was purchased is going to have a little kayak canoe ramp where that old 83 rest stop is. If you go in a couple hundred yards to the west, there'll be a ramp and a parking lot there to get on. We already built one on the other end of the lake, so kayakers and canoers. We got the fish passage money a week ago. The governor was very complimentary of the project. That's going to open up some fishing on the golf course. Once we get fish passability, which we've secured the money for at Cat's Dam and some of the other encumbrances. So basically, in the end, we're hoping to have fish passability from New Johns to the river. That's where that creek goes. And that should make a tremendous increase in local rec values. So you don't have to have a lot of money in a boat and all that. You
Right.
just have that.
Yep.
So even now, a week before ice out this year, I drove by, there was a dozen people catching walleyes down there by the bridge.
The bird's on 83?
Yeah.
Wow, no kidding.
Yeah, it's about 3 years. You put the fingerlings in and you got about 3 years before they're eaters.
Yeah.
So that died out, and so I had a meeting with Game Fish about 5 years ago, and they started putting their extras in there.
Okay.
Now I've got them actually now that we're gonna have a boat ramp for public access there, they're willing to put just schedule in a tank.
Nice.
Then 3 years later,
Put a boat ramp by 83 there,
yeah, it'll be 200 yards to the west.
to the west of there.
Yeah, I didn't want it next to there, because hunting dogs are gonna be out on 83 when people
Right.
let them out and
Okay.
stuff. So we're gonna move the lot, you'll come and we're gonna build a little trail in there, road in there, and then have the parking lot in by the creek.
Doesn't Game and Fish already have a boat ramp on 1804?
No, but there is one there's two on the management area. One that we put in when we bought that other land 5 years
On the
ago.
north end or the east end?
Yeah, so you'll be able to put your kayaks or your duck boats in by 83 and have somebody drive around and pick you up down there. Apparently kayaking has gotten to be a pretty popular thing, so now it's kind of one where moms don't have to worry about the kids out on the river and the current and all the deep water. It's more comfortable, I think, having a spot like that.
I have a quick question. So the golf course bought this land?
No, it's done through the county water board.
Okay.
And
So we're not talking
using-
about golf, okay.
We're using de minimis county money.
Yeah.
The purchase of the land is done by nonprofits.
Okay.
Federal money, state money, but we're facilitating this. And the reason I bring it up is just to work in, is we're looking at increasing the fishing possibilities on the golf course. We've got a couple spots, we have 9 feet of water for a couple hundred yards. And there's no reason we don't have the same kind of fishing there that we do on 83, where you can get limits every night for like 3 weeks in May, if you want, and in the ice. So we'll be able to have that on the golf course now when we get fish passability at Cat's Dam. So the real reason I'm here, though, the primary reason is, for those of you that weren't on the commission 5 years ago, we got $35,000 from the 1 cent sales. That expires in January. It's the last payment on that. So what happened in the 70s is the park board, the communities got together and built the golf course, Wilton and Washburn. The land at the golf course is actually owned by the Washburn Park Board, okay? The golf course is run by a nonprofit board, and the golf course, for whatever reasons, some of it is, it kind of outgrew it. The equipment got way better, and the golf course is a little small. People were getting hit by balls, and a bunch of other discussions led to an 18-hole project. It didn't work out. So when they opened in 2014, the public pretty much abandoned the place. There was $650,000 in pledges raised to pay off the debt. They spent about $800,000 or more on debt in building the 18. So the plan was to take the pledge money and pay back the debt. The problem was, lost all the golfing. She didn't have any income coming in. So they used the pledge money just to keep the place open. In 2017, the bank started raising serious concerns. So some of us then, now this is where guys like me and a number of others got involved, because we looked like the golf course was going to have to close and go away because of just the numbers weren't there. We worked with the banks. We got a bunch of volunteers to rechange the golf course. We got the high school teams back, youth programs. We have about 60 to 70 senior golfers out there on Mondays. Every Monday, the senior league. That was 0 5 years ago, basically nothing. We're bringing in depending on the weather, 250 to 350 golfers a weekend from out of the area in the summer. We have a number of events. So bottom line is, we are trying to do long-term planning. Our margins are not great. We're still trying to get this legacy debt paid off. I'm here to make an ask to continue the $35,000. Your obligation or your generous offer. What we did when we came in 5 years ago is we said, the $35,000 will be spent on nothing but debt service, right? And that's what we've done, and that's what we'll continue to do. It's just like anybody that runs up credit cards and debt. When you're trying to fix something, but you've got this legacy debt, it was just hampering us. Now we're getting to the point where we have a manager, which we didn't have till a few years ago. We're looking at getting a greenskeeper, so some of us volunteers can back out of that place replacing some of this burned out equipment, because Tony Thorson and I are out there, one of us every other day, fixing things. It's just wore out. So as we progress, it would help our long-term planning if we had some idea what the commission thought about continuing the $35,000 a year going forward after this year.
How long have we been paying it now? Not to interrupt you.
4 years, we've gotten $35,000. The last one will be in January, And then
Of this coming year.
yes.
24, yeah.
And then the question we had, because we're already kicking around okay, should we buy a new this, or should we do that? Can we, what do we need? And if the commission wasn't interested in continuing to work with the golf course on that 35,000, it changes our dynamics a lot, because we want to keep progressing into building this business out for our area. And I could sit here and make the sales pitch, we buy all our stuff at Napa and Ed Service, and I can make the pitch that the money's bringing in a lot of local. That 1 cent sales stuff, as you guys know, is broken into categories. One category is economic development. Well, the golf course does bring in thousands of people to the area that wouldn't otherwise come. And we're continuing to grow that pie.
But the golf course does not benefit everybody in this area, though.
Depends on how you want to view that, and I could lawyer that question.
Yeah, you can lawyer it, but it's not gonna make any difference to what I think, because that course does not benefit everybody in this area, especially for the people that don't go.
Yeah, well, that's every activity. Fishing doesn't, on this and that, but golf courses in general increase property values, and there's numerous studies. If you have a golf course in your area, every property value does increase. And this particular course is unique. We're always placed amongst the hawk trees and the bully pulpits and stuff as a special type of course. And we do have people that move here to, like that subdivision out there, there's people retiring for the golf course. And if you look at the National Realtors Association studies, and they do an approximate circle around, golf courses increase property values. So you could make the argument, that I don't golf, so I don't care. That's probably with everything. I personally don't have any kids, but I've always supported the school, but it doesn't benefit me. I voted for the new expansion up there, because I thought they needed it. But I could take the position, well, that doesn't benefit me, it's not my kids.
I have a question, Lad. What is your legacy debt?
Yeah, I have to get it's 700,000.
700,000?
In that area, I can get you the exact number as of right now. It's
Well,
six.
estimate, whatever.
Yeah, it's be 600 to 700.
How are you gonna pay it off?
What's that?
How are you gonna pay it off?
That's the goal. See, if you look at golf courses are a low margin business. So with our cash flow, a business like that should never have that much debt. We would be much more safe with 200,000 to 300,000, not 600 to 700,000. They ran up too much debt, the people that were running this. And to look at our balance sheet and say, if you went into a bank now and went in there and said, here's our balance sheet, can we get a $700,000 loan? They would say, well, your numbers don't add up that way, So we're trying to get that thing manageable to where it makes sense. And I guess the rest, we talk 200,000-300,000 long-term debt is not dangerous. But where we're at there is we're still trying to work that down.
So you're trying to get us to approve additional years of 35,000 a year?
Yes.
Yeah. You're looking for starting at 25, right?
Yes.
So if we have more questions for you going ahead, you don't need a commitment tonight, you're just coming early is what you're doing.
Because we're doing our long-term planning.
Right.
I just thought I'd bring it up.
Yep.
And say, look, as you guys are working on your budgets,
Yeah.
here's what we're looking at. 'Cause
So are you looking at a long-term commitment from us then, or just a short-term until we see exactly what's going on with it?
my ask would be another 5-year extension, and then revisit it. All of our competitors have 25% of their budget paid by property taxes, but we have none. Like the Riverwoods, the golf courses in Bismarck, they have a property tax base plus a membership type fee structure, where we don't have that here. So is there a point where I could say the golf course is so self-sufficient that we don't need to come to the city? I think it's appropriate to come into the city periodically if we have an ask, but right now, I do think we have a legitimate ask for what we're trying to build there.
You would put it mainly toward debt retirement again?
It would be 100% towards debt retirement.
Yep, like it was before.
Yeah, and then that lets us say, okay, based on this, we're gonna replace a rough mower, $70,000, over 10-year payment or something, something like that. But if we don't have it, then we have to reevaluate.
Yeah, because you had to use that towards debt.
Yeah, and I could give you more specifics, but my big general idea was, we started doing planning, we had a bunch of asks. If you drive by there now, you're gonna look at the clubhouse and you see a big white sheen on it. We framed out this fall with volunteers, we framed out the awning in the front. And the reason for that is we've got, some days we have more golf than we have space in the clubhouse. So we're trying to, using some volunteers, and we spent some money at Wagon Wheel, we're gonna frame it out and get some air in there so we can hold some bigger events that don't come to us because we don't have seating, which then increases. So that was the priority for our money this year, was to get a little better seating and heating and cooling in that building so we can get some more bigger events to come in, you know. But you'll see that's the kind of things we're doing, just
So-
continuing to try to grow it.
Would it be okay to ask, I guess, like I said, you don't need a commitment tonight, you're just informing us, if we would, you know, you're putting 35 to debt, could we get some of your other 5-year goals as
Yep.
far as the type of things,
Sure.
not that they all might not play out, but
Right.
at least we would kind of have an idea, so when we answer to our constituents, should we decide to do whatever,
Sure.
we can say, okay, they're doing this, they're doing this, they're doing this, they're doing this, instead of just, they see a check go in that direction, I think would be helpful for us.
That's absolutely, and what we've done, we do our goals different ways, but one of them is the amount of rounds is a good measurement. And when some of us got involved in 2017, we were at 3,300 rounds, which is terrible. And we're up over 10,000 now, it looks like. We're moving our way towards, we're hoping to be in a few years at 14,000.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
and all that, those kind of goals is sort of the,
Right.
if we fix the clubhouse up a little bit, get some space, we're gonna land a bunch more events, that's another 1,000 rounds,
Yeah.
those kind of things, you
Yeah.
know.
So could we, technically speaking, say, make it a 1 year, 35,000, and then, take a look at it next year to see if it's worthwhile doing it, or do you wanna lock in right away to a 5-year?
Yeah, well, you
know
could,
what I'm
but I guess I'd rather, and you can do that, but I guess I'd rather, you know, if Lad could put together a sheet of just the rounds and stuff like that, so we just kind of have a,
Yep.
you know, if that's not too difficult for you,
Well,
just to.
I can,
Well, the thing is, you know, we do not actually have a written request right now, so we
Right.
really can't vote on it
Yeah.
because they still have a written request
Yeah.
on the agenda.
Right.
So in order to
Yeah.
vote on something, it has to be
Yeah.
on the agenda.
Yeah.
so
Specifically.
the reason I came in now
Yeah.
is we technically, or, well, not technically,
Yeah.
we're gonna get a payment.
Yeah,
And if you guys don't wanna hear this until next year,
I'm just saying we
then
can't do it tonight.
Right, but I'm just saying I could have waited till next year to come in and say, hey, will you add this
Yeah.
again?
Yeah.
I thought maybe it'd be better to come in and just explain.
No,
what-
I agree.
Yeah.
No,
You
that's
know, what
fine.
we're trying to do.
yeah, and I think you were in here about a year or a little bit more
Just
ago.
updating.
Just updating type of thing too.
We
so.
were on condition red for 2 or 3 years, worried about
Yep.
whether we were gonna get people to come back, and
Yep.
we had a bad rate, but it's turning.
Okay.
So I have a question. So I know, you know, because before when you got, you know, the 5 years, you know, it was from the actual 1 cent sales tax committee. You know, and they actually asked for like some bank records and stuff like that. Is that something we want, or is that something we're not gonna deal with, or, you know, I'm just,
Well, I think,
because that's kind of what.
I think it would be helpful to have some type of information.
Yeah.
You know, and what,
Yeah.
and I guess we have some time where, you know, we can get in communication with Lad and get.
Yeah, I can put together whatever you need. I guess one way I'd ask you guys to look at it is, the way that money is targeted, that one kitty is targeted at that.
Yeah.
If there was better demand, I mean, there should be like what other demands do you have to try to increase economic activity here, and then the golf course competes on that. I'm not sure what those are. You know, like if you set aside an X amount every year to try to encourage business and development, you know, those type of things, and there's 10 people after that same kitty trying to do their things too, that's one thing. If there's no one else, then to answer your question on do you want a 5-year commitment or 1-year commitment or whatever, probably depends on our competition for the money. You know, we're coming in with a case that says, hey, we're bringing in thousands of people to the area every week, or every month, or, you know, or every year, and we're increasing a business there that is,
Well, we don't really, I don't have a dispute with the amount of people coming in, it's just the amount and how long you want it,
Right.
that's the only thing.
and
And some backup records like, to see exactly what you're doing for the future planning and stuff like that.
yeah, and we have plenty of time to do that.
Sure.
If you told me tonight, don't come and see us till next November, when you're looking to get a check again in January, then that's what I would do. But if you want to see me again this winter with some specifics,
Yeah.
that would be, you know, what I would work on.
Well, I would think we would want it before next November.
Yeah.
For budgeting purpose, yes, please.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but, yeah, well, I appreciate that. So, we'll figure out a time frame and,
Yeah.
you know.
You can put something together, get it to Chelsea, and then,
Yeah.
you know, she can divvy it out. You know, at least we can review it and stuff like that, and then,
Yeah.
you know, next time we meet, we'd have questions and.
Yep.
Sure.
Yeah, I think that information would be helpful for us, so,
Yeah.
And then kinda, you know, like maybe a request on what you're looking for,
yep.
you know,
Yeah.
so, yeah,
The more activities you can get out there, the more people are gonna get interested in
yeah.
it.
yeah. Well, it is good having a golf course here.
Yes, it is.
Absolutely, you know.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Thanks for coming, man, appreciate
Nice to see the old rest area's gonna get used for something.
Yeah.
it.
Thanks, lad.
Yep, thank you.
Otter Tail Street Light contract. Real quickly, there is a change in the agreement. Did they ever send you another agreement, Chelsea?
Yes, I do
Okay.
have the new agreement. I printed off 2 copies, one for us, one for Scott, that has to go back to him, but the changes were made, I did double check.
Is that on the Minnesota thing?
Yeah.
Yes, because the 16 prevailing law and forum,
Page 7?
page 7, sorry, it initially had said the state of Minnesota. It was changed to, if shall be brought in the courts of the state of North Dakota in the county of McLean.
Yep.
And I actually see that L is not capitalized, but,
Yeah, whatever.
I'm also just wondering about that, like under the seller and then at the top too, it just says capital city name. Like, is it, you're supposed to enter the city name, has that been changed?
Did they change that? Well, they put it on the front page, right? They
Yeah,
Washburn.
what
Oh,
page
they
are you on,
changed it,
Keith?
okay. It's just been red. It's on page 1, and it's on that page we just talked about.
Oh, yes, so the buyer is named as Otter Tail Power Company, seller is City of Washburn, and then on the page we do have to sign, it is noted in there, the buyer is Otter Tail Power, seller, City of Washburn.
Okay, good, that'd be kind of awkward.
Yeah.
If it wasn't even for us, you know, but.
So this is something we've been working on for, geez, over a year, I think it's been. You know, the city really doesn't need to be in the streetlight business. You know, the state highway department deeded their lights over to us, because it's kind of like a joint thing.
Except for 200.
Except, well, yeah,
Yep.
except for 200, that's our MEC.
Yep.
But anyway, so, because really it was kind of they were kind of the highway lights, but the city had to pay for them, you know, and be responsible for them, so they actually deeded over to us as part of this agreement moving forward. So this agreement is for,
And I think,
sorry?
I think Otter Tail already takes care of 128 lights on wooden poles in town.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yep. That was our estimate Clay had.
So this would be for the 26 streetlights that the city has from the highway at 7th Street and Main Avenue, downtown Main Avenue. They would give us $13,000, and then they would take over complete ownership of the lights, the poles, the underground, everything gets us out of the light business.
Do we like pay him a rate then per month?
Yeah, it would be like a rate per streetlight,
Electric
you know, like we do on any of the other
And
streetlights.
what is that? Because it's not stated on here.
I don't know what it is.
I found on their
Like-
website it's like 23 for one of the lights
Like
per month.
$10 or something.
I think it was $10, Scott.
It was like $10, somewhere
Yeah.
around there.
Yeah.
So,
Because, I mean, because like on their deal, because on their website, they have so much for the light, which was $15.65. And then they have a charge for a standard, which is the pole. So I mean, what is the exact rate?
so are you saying, is that installation, or is that,
This is from the Otter Tail website.
can I see that real quick?
Because
I don't know.
nothing on here stated what.
Oh, that's
we're
one
gonna-
from, yeah, that's one that's referenced in the agreement, where it talks about the rate sheet, on page 2. I found it on the website. It talks about the rate sheet, the rate schedule from North Dakota. So it's kind of weird that they would like charge us for our own tolls, you know? I mean, like I get it if you install a pole and then you,
Well, where does it say for poles?
it's on that second.
They're called standards.
Yeah, they're purchasing the standard.
They're purchasing everything there,
But
so.
they're charging you for a light and a standard. I mean, 'cause if we say okay to this, they say what they're gonna give you, 'cause what, they have to buy it so they can maintain it. Other than that, they couldn't legally do it. So they have to buy the equipment.
Yep.
So they're giving you the purchase, but what are you gonna be paying per month?
For upkeep?
And that's on page 3 where it talks about the LED street area lighting test drawings, which I think might be that one, I don't know.
Where are our bills?
Yeah, it is this one.
What are our bills? I don't know.
So I could look at Otter Tail's invoices.
The bills aren't out here.
Oh. Well, that would explain. I know he said it was gonna offset more or less the price because they can't just, we can't just give them to
Here's the
them.
bills.
So then it turns around to offset the price, I guess, of us just wanting to turn them over. But they can't, they have to purchase them.
We did a little research, we pulled up what it, from 2011 to 23, what had been stuck into it through those years, and then did an average. Now this, of course, isn't meter fees or electrical usage, but per month, you're at $9.58 is what you're paying now, or had paid up till this point.
Per light?
Per light.
For the whole town?
That is, the 32. Now that,
32.
because this is up to the point to where, because the city has not taken over the 10 that got put up there,
They won't give them up.
okay? So
Were you talking?
where those 10 were, includes the 2 that were there, so everything along 83, down 7th, Main Avenue, and actually McLean Electric gave those poles over to the city, and those got converted to LED.
They might have gave them up, I don't remember. I can't
Is
remember.
I'd have
They
to
might have. I'm
look
not- I
back,
can't
but
remember.
probably back in 2016, 14.
Possibly, yeah, I'm not arguing that, yeah.
So what is our monthly bill then, Chelsea?
Well, total, I mean, this is with,
Just electric bill.
October's is 4,600. That's all the lights included, you know, so it varies on, some lights are 49, one light is 774, like the storage building is 49, 42, they're all broken down. So, depends on. But yeah, like total for what Otter Tail has right now that they charge us to pay for, it is $4,600.
How much?
4,600,
A month?
yeah.
You know, another thing.
And that
too-
varies, obviously.
Yeah,
That's
it
not-
varies
you know,
time of the year and stuff.
Another thing to consider too is, I mean, if one of the poles gets damaged, we don't have to worry about it. They take care of it.
That's good. yeah.
You know, light burns out, they take it, you know. Somebody hits it on the highway, we don't have to try and sue to get our money back. They take care of it all, you know, which can get very expensive and a royal pain in the butt, you know. So, I know we've been working on this for a long time.
Yeah, Clay told me today that, I asked him as far as, because in this agreement it says, as far as when they would be replaced or updated, he said a reasonable amount of time, but he said the lights that are burned out, he says we would do pretty much immediately, as soon as we got a bucket truck to come and do them.
Yeah.
So I think there's a couple of them that are burned out. He said we have lights in Garrison, but he says we can't do it until they belong to us. So-
Right.
So would you do all of Main Avenue with 2 burnt out or 3 out? Would you have them do all, and would they do all of them? Or would you have hodgepodge?
For now, they would replace the ones that are burned out, the ones that don't work. And I guess in visiting with them, that's what they told me, in visiting with a couple of other electricians, everybody has their own opinion. They said, we just replace what is burned out. So they would do similar to that, so they would, I think there's one by school, one by 7th Street, and then there's a couple of them that are off and on.
I know they would like to change everything. to
Yeah,
LED.
eventually they would change it all
LED, they
out.
want LEDs everywhere,
Yeah, they
you
would
know.
change them all out.
So, yeah.
But for now, they would make sure that the ones that aren't working would be up and running in short order, so.
I make a motion that we approve this contract.
Okay. We have a motion, we have a second.
I'll second it.
Further discussion? Hearing
Well,
none?
the thing is, you're approving, you don't even know what you're getting charged per fixture at this point, and you're approving it.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, he told us it's probably about like
$10.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, it looks like it's more than that, if we're
Well,
actually
the-
going
Well,
by the duck.
The thing is, I don't know what light you're saying there, right?
This is off
Well,
the,
it's one that we're agreeing to, it's the HPS 23, which we have,
Is that what's in here?
yeah, well,
HPS 23.
it's spelled wrong, but it's HSP here in the thing, but it's the HPS 23, and that's 14 of them. So 14 of them are gonna be at $16 per light for a monthly charge. And I guess I would just like to know if they're gonna charge us for the poles as well, because that's what,
yeah, because they also have
They
standard
have it
fees
here.
there too, which you have all wood poles right now that they're taking care of. Well, now they're taking over steel standard poles. Well, now you're gonna get that fee too. So I mean, you guys are okaying something you don't even know what you're getting charged for.
Yeah, but you won't know what you're getting charged for it until you actually have to have a problem with it, is the way I look at it.
no, it's a monthly fee.
Larry, we could get more information.
Yeah, I just think it might be just a
Yeah,
good idea.
so
just to-
I'll rescind my second, if Donna rescinds his motion, and then I would make a motion that we,
Oh, wait a minute, first,
go ahead.
he has to rescind.
Right.
Are you rescinding?
If not-
Personally, I think we have enough information, but, I don't know. I'll rescind it then. Don't want to, but, I think we got enough information to approve it. But I'll rescind it.
Jim, you're rescinding yours?
My second, yeah, we should. So your questions are what, Jamie?
What did I just say? You're okaying a contract that you
No,
don't.
well,
No, what are your questions?
What are your questions?
My question is, what are you getting charged per month, per fixture?
Per fixture,
Okay.
and for
And then-
electricity?
What's that?
Yeah, okay.
And we
Yeah.
did ask him that, and he said like, you know, $10
Yeah.
or something, but yeah.
Would you approve a streetlight project, or a highway, street improvement project if you didn't have a quote? There's no quote on here of what it's gonna cost you, and you're saying okay to it.
Well, I mean, there is a quote, it references the rate sheet, but then are we,
Can this,
is this the same one that I found on the internet?
yeah,
Is that the rate sheet? Like, are these our costs? And are they gonna charge us for our own poles that, you know what I mean? Like,
Can I see that again?
sure, yeah, and this is from their website, and it's
Yeah,
a
no, I
thing
get it.
that's
That's fine.
referenced in here that we're agreeing to.
Does it make any difference if they charge us for our own poles?
Well,
Since
yeah.
we're gonna give everything to them anyways?
Correct.
Sunset
Well,
Bottom.
I mean, it's just long-term, because if this costs $30 a month, with the included pole charge, and if the previous one was $9 a month, it would be a $20 increase at about 26 poles, which would be like $600 a
and
then.
this $9, and we can recheck this math, and you guys are welcome to look up the invoices too, but this is like when you have street projects and they bored under the road, and so this is kind of everything that has got stuck into these lights from 2011
Yeah,
to
they know that, yeah.
2023. And you're at $9.58 a fixture is what you're paying on average over that time span. So, I mean, and you're not even gonna get a quote from them, what you're gonna pay to even compare it to what you were paying. These fixtures that are up there that are already LEDs still have warranty for quite some time. Those fixtures that got put in had a 10-year warranty on them. Since they got put up, you haven't had to rebuy a fixture.
So what are you saying exactly?
If, I would invite you to look at what your meter fee cost is, your electrical use cost, and then right now, your current maintenance fee is, and see if, which one's cost more. I think that's what anybody would do in this situation.
It'd be just good to get a comparison,
Yeah.
just to know exactly
Well,
what we'd be stepping into.
How about their street lights? So I would move that the street portfolio, Keith and Larry, would would look into the rates, look into the cost, look into that, and come back with a comparison, so we can make a determination off of that, so.
Okay, we have a motion. We have a
The other
second.
thing.
Hang on, we have a motion. Do we have a
Did you say
second?
I'll make a
second?
motion.
No, he already motioned. No, we have a second. Okay, go ahead.
And the other thing too is you still got those 4 poles along 200, you need to find out if they're the cities or not, because
They are.
then they need to add that, because I don't think they have that on here.
They were told that that would be part of the deal.
But I don't
And we would store them in the compound.
The lights along 200 out here?
No, those extra poles that are up there.
Yeah, that's not what I'm talking about.
Oh,
I'm
we're
talking
talking-
about the 4 lights along 200, if they're gonna take them over.
That's MEC.
I think you need to check that, because I'm pretty sure back in 2014 or 16, they got turned over to the city.
We're paying MEC every month for that. No, it's MEC.
Yes, it's actually stated in the invoice.
Yeah.
It says on there, there's, the ones on Garden Drive and then the ones along 200.
Oh, well, at some point, the city did pay for those lights that got put up there.
I know we did pay for them, and I don't know why we did.
Right.
And who knows? I mean, I don't know why that happened, but, you know, apparently got snaggled into that one somehow, but,
Yeah, you guys can come back, well, we gotta vote on it, so.
okay. So just to clarify the motion,
I move that the streets portfolio, you and Keith, would look into the cost of the Otter Tail agreement as far as the standards, as far as the lights and that type of thing, cost per light and that.
Perfect.
So we have some type of general information.
Okay.
In a comparison now to a comparison years ago is gonna be quite different because of inflation, so.
Okay, and that, and we have a second by,
Keith.
Okay, so, further discussion?
Nope.
Tim?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
No. Yes.
Did you email that to one of us?
Yep. Okay. Water settlement rates?
You wanna explain that quick, Adam? We just need to generate some more income because of a
Security issue.
security
With the
issue.
credit cards that are up there.
Yes, we need additional credit card security that they thought we had before, but we actually don't.
Yep.
And, the additional coverage plus the equipment is gonna cost about $3,000 a month, or a year.
A year.
Yep.
I was gonna say 3,000 a month.
No, $3,000 a year.
Yes, we're just looking to go up a half a cent, which will cover it, so I would move that we would raise the water salesman. price.
Second it.
Yep.
Okay, so for clarification, it's going from,
.02 to .025.
okay,
And that was the only water rate that we didn't adjust last month.
Okay.
So,
any discussion on that? Tim?
yep.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. First reading, ordinance 179. This would be the ordinance related to the collection and disposal of refuse. Who wants to read it?
I'll read it, but it's not in the packet.
You have the corrections on there?
Yeah, that's the late one she gave me tonight.
Okay,
Yep.
very good.
Okay.
Morning, Mark.
Ordinance number 179, an ordinance relating to sanitation and collection and disposal of refuse. Be it ordained by the City Commission of the City of Washburn, State of North Dakota. This ordinance shall repeal and replace all other ordinances related to garbage and refuse. Section 1, definitions. The following definition shall apply unless the context clearly indicates or requires a different meaning. A, garbage. All manner of kitchen and household refuse, all offal, including both animal and vegetable matter, metal and glass food containers from which the food has been removed, metal cans commonly known as tin cans, waste paper and paper containers, and all other waste material and things produced or accumulated in the operation of kitchens or places where food is served. Produced or consumed, including all waste matters from homes, stores, or places of business of any nature, and including rubbish, leaves, branches of trees, and waste paper. B, rubbish. Tin cans, bottles, glass, scraps of iron, tin, wire, or other metals, rags, old clothing,
unflattened paper, containers, paper not used in preparation of food and drinks, old rubber, pieces of wood, boxes, barrels, crates, feathers, weeds, grass, lawn clippings, tree limbs, provided they are bundled or boxed and under 2 inches in diameter and not more than 2 feet in length, and similar refuse of every character collected or accumulated within the city of Washburn. C, refuse. All putrid-sidable and non-putrid-sidable solid waste except body waste, including garbage, rubbish, street cleanings, dead animals, abandoned automobiles, and solid market and industrial waste. D, ashes. Residue from burning wood, coal, coke, or other combustible materials for the purpose of heating, cooking, and disposing of waste and combustible materials. Section 2, garbage totes. Each property owner or occupant within the city of Washburn must keep 1 or more garbage totes. All residents are required to use a 96-gallon tote per garbage contracted provided by the city. Section 3, city collection. All garbage and rubbish as defined herein shall be collected by the city of franchise contractors as frequently as necessary to maintain and preserve community cleanliness and sanitation, except that this section shall not require the collection of garbage and rubbish where streets and alleys are in temporary condition, which makes it impossible to do so in the case of failure to collect garbage and rubbish. Such failure shall not relieve the occupant of the premises from the payment of the garbage and rubbish collection fees herein provided for. Section 4. Throwing in streets prohibited. It shall be unlawful for any person, firm, or corporation to throw, place, deposit, or permit to be thrown, placed, or deposited any garbage or refuse as defined in Section 1 hereof upon any street, alley, public way, public place, or any private lot, piece, or parcel of ground within the corporate limits of the city of Washburn, except in the places herein provided. Section 5. Accumulation of refuse prohibited. No person shall permit or suffer to accumulate in or about any yard, lot, place, or premise, or upon any street or sidewalk, adjacent to or abutting upon any lot, block, or place, or premises owned and occupied by him, or which he, she may be agent within the city limits. Any and all refuse nor suffer such yard, lot, place, or premises to be or remain in such condition. Shall be unlawful to throw, place, or deposit, or permit to be thrown, placed, or deposited any garbage, refuse, and rubbish as defined in Section 1 herein upon any street, alley, public way, or public place, or on any private lot, piece, or parcel of ground within the corporate limits of the city of Washburn, except in the place herein provided. Section 6, hauling and dumping. No garbage shall be hauled on the streets of the city of Washburn unless the same is contained, with covers tightly fitted thereon, or unless hauled in wagons, trucks, trailers, or other vehicles which are covered in such manner as to prevent the scattering of such garbage and refuse upon the streets. Dumpsters will be placed behind City Hall and will be used for composting materials only, such as unbagged grass, clippings, leaves, and garden waste. Section 7. Burning prohibited. It shall be unlawful to burn garbage, refuse, and rubbish as defined in Section 1 herein within the city limits. Section 8. Fees, payments, collection. In all places where water and or sewer service is provided, the monthly charge set established by the City Commission will be added to and collected as part of the water bill and collected by the Water Department, but will be separately stated on the bill. Garbage and rubbish collection bills are due and payable monthly at the same time as the water bill. If such charges is not paid when due, the water service to such premise may be shut off by the Water Department in the same manner as is now provided for in the case of delinquency in payment of water bills, and such service will not be restored without the payment of the penalties now provided for. In all places where water service is not provided, the charges set forth must be paid to the Water Department of the city upon monthly bills from the Water Department. If the garbage and rubbish charges so established is not paid when due, such sum may be recovered by the city in an action at law against the owner of occupant or both of the property. So served may be assessed against the premises served and collected and returned in the same manner as other county and municipal taxes are assessed, certified, collected, and returned. The receipt for the collection of fees and charges must be placed in the general fund, and all the expenses of the city in the purchase and maintenance of equipment and the collection and disposal of garbage and rubbish will be paid out of the general fund. Section 9. Penalty. Any person, firm, or corporate violating any of the provisions of this ordinance shall upon conviction be punished by a fine of $500. Section 10. Severability. Should any part of the provision of this ordinance be declared by a court of competent jurisdiction to be valid, the same shall not affect the validity of the ordinance or any part thereof, other than the part declared to be invalid. Larry Thomas, President. Date of adoption.
Page one again, I didn't understand it.
Yeah.
It was
Very
about
good.
garbage
Thank
and
you very
stuff,
much.
Yeah.
I move to accept the first reading of ordinance 179.
I'll second it.
Questions on the ordinance?
What has changed from the old one, or what?
The old one was written in 1971.
It has in there like your garbage cans, you have to have metal cans, they have to be placed in containers. here, there, and everywhere,
Is this penalty this year?
but
Is it penalty this year? Was it $500 back then?
$100.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the other one had like you said, the metal one, that sort of stuff. It's a little bit
Yeah, it had to be kept behind your house, it had to be kept in the metal rack.
There was quite a few changes in it.
yeah. This one's more.
The tote, or the size was different. Now this references the tote that we have now, because it was two different companies.
This one's more definitive of garbage.
Yes, and stating that you have to have a garbage can at your residential house. If you have a utility bill, you have to have a garbage can as well.
Okay, any other questions?
Nope.
Tim?
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes. Mr. Eric. First thing is the substantial completion document. We'll go by order of what's listed here.
Sounds good. Good evening to you guys. Haven't seen you all in a while. So we finished up the project minus seeding work. So I hope everyone has had a chance to go check out the project. And hopefully you've got more good comments than bad comments from everybody in town. Larry and I went and checked the project out tonight, just looking for if there was anything that we needed to note down that we needed to fix. They finished the paving work. There was a patch job they had to finish up back on October 20th. So the substantial completion was met within the time frame that the city granted them an extra time. And the project is complete with the exception of the seeding work. So I recommend approval of substantial completion.
We need a motion for that?
Yes.
So move.
Second.
Questions? Tim?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Okay, change order number 2.
All right, change order 2. So Linden Lane, the south end of Linden, we paved down to not the bottom of the hill, but past the last house there. There was a manhole that was near the top of the hill there that the home that's on the bottom pumps up to, and that was covered in gravel, so we had to put a new casting on top of that manhole. So this change order for $540.35 is for the casting the new casting that they put on top of that concrete manhole. So I recommend approving the change order.
I make a motion, we approve it?
Second.
Discussion? Tim?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Contractor's application for payment 5.
All right, so pay app 5, that's going to cover the remaining street work. There was some pavement that was included in there, curb and gutter, a lot of curb and gutter on the end of Linden Lane again. That's covered under this pay application. This pay app 5 will cover everything minus seeding work and the 5% of retainage that we will hold until the contractor finishes the project. So I recommend approval of pay app 5 in the amount of $230,803.04.
I have a question before we make an approval on it.
Yes.
Did that one guy's property get redone that we were talking about?
Driveway?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And that was done
Yes,
according to...
It's done satisfactorily. Yes.
Okay, good. I make a motion, we approve it.
Second.
Discussion? Tim?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Okay. Lake North Dakota requisition for payment 6.
Yep, so Abby put this together and sent it over to Chelsea. Pay app 6 is just to cover what we just had there. Pay app 5 for the contractor, and then AHS invoices for construction services. It's another loan draw. I don't have the amount on there. Chelsea, do you have the amount?
$285.
$285.
But I can get the exact amount real quick if you'd... I don't know why I didn't have that printed.
I didn't have it on my report either. I should have.
No, she
Is that
sent it
in
after
there?
you had sent your report, so...
It's not going to be on.
It's not on there. No, I don't think it is. Oh,
That's it.
258,
You do have it.
258, 146.75.
Okay.
Yeah.
I recommend approval of that.
Make a motion, we accept it.
Second. Discussion? Tim?
Yes.
Jamie?
Yes.
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 Yes. Okay, now your update.
Yeah, so just to encourage you guys, that if there's anyone in town that has anything that they see on the project that we need to fix, let us know. The 1-year warranty period will start, did start on October 20th with that potential completion. So as we get into the spring here and into the summer next year, we'll look to get any corrections that we need to make within that 1-year warranty period, as well as getting the seating work done too, so.
Are we gonna see maybe some changes or something during the winter months here on how our snow plowing stuff goes around that stuff?
There's always a chance that you might see some defects in the project, and hopefully those happen within the first year.
Good.
So that's what we want to watch out for. But hopefully they're minimal, but that's why we want to keep an eye on it before we run out of our warranty period.
Any questions for Eric on any of this? Okay.
Yeah, so the other thing I have on the report is the wastewater lagoon upgrades. I talked to Larry a little bit about it, to Tim a little bit about it, and Adam some as well. But we did a technical memorandum on different options for improvement in the lagoons. We will continue our discussions with Adam and refining our technical memorandum to get a final draft with recommendations to you guys on what we could do. The problems that we're having in the lagoon is that the aerator with the mixer is just getting stopped up with ragging, and that's because we have a lot of debris that's coming in because our pre-screening is not really working the best. So a couple options to improve the screening before the sewage gets to the lagoon, and then some options to maybe put a better aerator in there too. So those are some things that we're working on there. But if you guys have any questions on that, I will take those as well.
Can we get this completed rather sooner than later because of the lagoon situation?
Yeah, I would say that if we're going to do anything to the lagoons, it'd be next summer before we get anything done. There's probably some dredging that we should be doing, and that'll be on the final draft tech memo. And then we really should get some screening done before debris gets into there. That's going to be our best bet in preventing ragging happening on that. So it'll be next year, I think, before we would do anything at this point.
Yeah, I just don't want to see it be put off and off.
Right.
Get something in there.
It's kind of a priority. Anything on like the water tower, the mixing and bypass for the red tower, anything on that?
Yeah, I don't have prices yet to take the tower down. That would be another project that we can look at getting some prices.
Taking down might be in the future. But
Yeah, taking down maybe in the future unless somebody wants to buy it and make a fort up there. But
Right, exactly.
but yeah, what I would do with the things that we need to look at for that is getting you guys a concept design and a price to just replace the pressure reducing valves. There's 2 pressure reducing valves on the system that connect zone 1 and zone 2. The old tower is on the lower zone, I guess, if you want to call it that. It's lower altitude than zone 2, which would be the other 2 towers, the newer towers. So that's the connection point between the 2 zones. So we want to be able to put in a new pressure reducing valve so we can take that other tower offline, because the newer towers will have to pressurize the lower zone at that point. So that's something that we're looking at.
the lower zone is problematic because it's a lot of old cast iron that cannot handle the pressure from the newer towers.
Mhm.
That's the reason.
So we want those PRVs to be in good shape
Yeah.
if we're going to be taking that old tower offline.
And that'll be next summer again as well?
That would be something that I should be able to get you guys more information this winter so we can action it next summer.
Okay.
That would be the goal there.
We were talking about probably using, was it the Prairie Dog money or whatever it was, or possibly for some of that, or
Yeah, the ARPA money,
ARPA money, yeah.
because that has to be spent before, the ARPA money has to be spent before 2026.
Yeah, and we're supposed to have a plan in 2024, right, or
Mhm.
something, yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah, we need to get moving on that, so. Okay. Anything else?
I got nothing else unless you guys have questions.
Thank you, Eric.
Okay,
Thanks, Eric.
Portfolios, Tim?
I went to the park board last month as directed, and they voted to go for it. Dave's in the process of quick deeding property to the city back here.
And as soon as that happens, you're gonna talk to the county about GIS, changing the GIS.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna visit with the GIS change down at the Riverside Park all the way around.
Right, yeah.
Yep, give those the same deeds and that, so.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No, that was it.
Jay?
I just got a text about the floor. I've probably got the same one that, they got the lines and the decal and everything on and what they're
That's
gonna.
nice.
Yeah. It come back, after Thanksgiving to finish, it sounded like. So,
Oh, okay. All right, very good. That it?
You probably know about the airport too. They had a meeting about that land. I don't have the exact number, but what they basically got 80% of it paid for.
They got 80%, I think it was 280,000 in a grant.
Mm-hmm.
So that means they have 70,000 left at a 2% loan for 30 years. Well, pick me, right?
Yeah.
So that was a good deal.
Yeah.
It's a really good deal.
I suppose the stipulation is that they need to keep all the property, correct?
Well, yeah, if you get a grant or something, you can't sell it.
Right, yep.
So,
Okay.
Who's giving them 2%?
think North Dakota,
Really?
I guess.
Same place we get our money, huh?
Anything else, Jimmy?
Nope, that's all I got.
Done?
Not a thing, sir.
So, we got an update from, the Red River Valley Water Project, from Bruce Grubb. Chelsea had sent it out to all of you. I don't know if you guys read it or not. It's basically, kind of filled us in on the, the FEMA grant application and, the pipeline route study. I don't know if anybody has any questions on that. Everything's still in the works, just moving forward. And they do plan on coming around and talking to each individual, community that, would be on that. So,
What happens when FEMA runs out?
what do you mean runs out?
Must be an expiration date on it, isn't there?
They're still working on it.
Are they?
Yeah, they're still working on it. They don't have it yet. Did you read the thing? That was
Briefly.
Are you talking about like our FEMA grant?
Yeah.
This is a FEMA grant. Our FEMA grant's gone.
Yes, our FEMA
That
grant
one's
is
gone.
expired. This is a whole separate FEMA grant
Okay.
that they are working on to try to get it so that we'll get the additional funding to help out for us for the cost share. So this is not our FEMA grant that we previously had. That one's expired.
Mhm.
This is a whole new one.
Okay, just curious.
Yep.
So, okay. So I'm kind of wondering about the fishing dock down at the park, that's still in the water. We're at that big slide area there.
It's not in the water anymore.
Huh?
It's pulled up on the shore.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, I wonder if we need to get that out of there, because we don't know what that slide's gonna do.
Where would we put it?
Up on top
on
where
top of
the
the
snow
hill?
is up there. I mean, I don't know, that thing's dropping a lot. It has dropped a lot in the last month. It's dropped
Guess
quite
I
a bit in the
haven't
last
been
month.
down there and looked at it, so.
Yeah, it's gone down quite a bit.
Then we should probably get it out of there. Is that a
I-
possibility? Does it come apart very easily?
Well, we'd almost have to take it apart, I think, at this point.
Well, we can look at it, I think, but I think it might be good, because if something goes further, you're gonna need a crane to get it out of there. So.
We don't need a crane now to get it out?
I think we can get it out without a crane.
Try.
We'll see,
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll look at it, so I just think it's something we should probably get into, so I just thought I'd mention that, so. Okay, that's, all I have. Okay, Sophie?
I sent out an email last week, I believe it was, about this archive social. We discussed it last year. If it's something that we want to go to back up our social media, she is willing to do a demo. I didn't know if maybe Keith, you would be interested in sitting in on that, what your thoughts are, just because you're more of the tech savvy one. Otherwise, I sent it out, I didn't know, I got no response, so I didn't know what anybody was thinking, if it's something we want to go with, if we don't want to go with, or if anybody's interested in sitting in on a demo. It's a Zoom. So we can do that. It would, I guess, help our case if anything, we were to get sued for anything for posting on social media, whether that be Facebook, our website, if something somehow would get deleted, it has a timestamp on it, it backs it up. You can search keywords in the back of it. The county has it, more towns are going to it. It's just, I guess, if we feel the need to be proactive or reactive if we were to get a open records request that we could not fulfill for social media.
How much is it?
$8,000.
No, she could not tell me the exact amount. She said that nobody pays under or over the $8,000. I know the county, what they paid for 23 was like $2,800. I believe their fee is going up to roughly around $4,000. That is 2 pages and their website as well. So she told me she could give me a more accurate price after a demo and based off of what I guess our needs are.
What do you think of it?
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, answer his question, I have a question.
I see both sides to it. We're not super active on there, but in the case that, like, Facebook is a private group, so they can go and delete something on the back end if they want. If there's a whole argument on our city webpage, that first person that started it, and they go and delete that comment, and there's 16 comments underneath that one, all those comments are gone. If there was something said and somebody wants that or they're pursuing it, we have no record of it. It's gone. We can't go to Facebook to get it. They do not back those up. They will not give us any records that are
It
deleted.
protects us, in other words.
Yes.
So my question is, so Facebook, you do that on our computers, and we back up our computers, that wouldn't be on there?
No.
Wouldn't be on the cloud either then?
Nope.
Disappears totally?
So another question, so if somebody has, as long as other people are making comments, why do we have to save their comments? I mean, as long as we have our own, that's all we should have to provide, right?
Yeah, my understanding is you only have to provide what you actually have, not what has ever existed in all time. Because we don't actually have ownership of that. Facebook does, according to their terms of service. And I mean, I kind of just, I read this thing again, it was the same exact thing. Your country or your state law requires that you have this, and then they link the state law, and then I look at the state law, and it's like, oh, that's the same state law I asked the Attorney General about, where they said that you didn't need it, you just needed emails, texts, and phone calls. So it's a sales pitch.
Yeah.
And I say no.
I agree, I think I had responded to you, I can't remember, I think I did, and I said, I don't think so,
But thank you for your work. Sorry to come off strongly on that. Yeah.
But if you want to
No,
review it,
yeah.
if you want to sit on a review, that's fine, and see what they say.
I guess, yeah, my biggest thing was if anybody was interested in going through it, I could set that up. If not, then, I mean, we leave it at that. We're good.
Yeah, you gave the information?
I did.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
So you don't want to sit through that 6-hour training?
It was like 30 minutes, but.
Oh.
Not this time of year, no.
Does anybody want to sit through that training?
No.
It's available. It's free. We do like education. We value it.
Do I get a credit for it?
So I guess
What?
everybody said no.
What? Would you like to sit on the training?
Yes, I would.
Okay, sign it up.
Really?
Do you want to do the archives motion?
Did you want us to do the training?
What training?
Okay, we have 2
Yeah, I know.
planning and zoning
I know.
vacancies. So if anybody's interested in being on planning and zoning, please submit a letter of interest. We have 2 now, so.
Can we put a bigger ad in the paper? I mean, our ad's about this big, and it's dark.
Yeah.
I had to look for it.
We can make it as big as we
Well,
want.
I mean, it's this big, and maybe we can get a bigger ad, it might stand out a little bit. I don't know.
I'll volunteer.
The city already has a representative.
Oh, okay, who's that?
Me.
Oh, God. No wonder.
And then Tim is also on there, but he was on before.
Yeah, I was on 3 years ago or so.
Yeah.
Super commissioner.
Yeah.
So he's not actually the city representative.
Right.
I guess the other thing, just to be noted, kind of an HR thing, we do have an employee that will be out for 6 weeks, or 4 weeks for sick leave, so
Okay. Starting when?
Friday.
You need help with snow removal, give me a call.
Noted.
What was that smirk? Anything else, Sophie?
I don't think so.
Besides that employee, some talk about the boulevards that have been rolled up because of the snow removal. We're gonna rake those back this week, just so people are aware. And we kinda made it, I don't know if it's been said here or not, but we made it more or less an official policy not to accept outside flash drives or CDs on the city computers for cybersecurity reasons. Not that anybody is intentionally trying to do something to our computers, but it could get on a flash drive and you wouldn't even know it, and it would end up on our system.
Yep.
So just for security reasons, we're no longer accepting those here.
Whether they're new or not, right?
Right, yep. I mean, if we have a need to supply somebody with a flash drive, then we would purchase it ourselves.
Okay.
Yep. And that's it.
I guess one more thing to add, just because it's been stated, our snow letters will be going out in the mail by the end of this week. They're getting folded and stamped and everything else. Yeah, it's a long process, but they are done, so they will be going out into the mail probably by the end of this week.
Yeah. So something real quickly too, I don't know if it even matters to the commission here, but the planning and zoning adopted a new policy that anybody that comes to planning and zoning and requests anything has to be there or have a representative there in case there's any questions. So that is going to change on the application. So. Okay, anything else, anybody? Bill?
We're just looking them over here. We can pass them down to you guys.
Did you get that last bill put in there? That sewer fix?
Yes.
Okay.
And then I guess whoever does make the motion, I would just make the motion with the acceptance of putting Bechtold's pay request out also in there. I will get that added to get paid tomorrow.
We'll give these guys a minute to look these over. Man, this is like the old days. That's what they used to do at the end of the meeting, they'd all go through the bill. Yeah.
That's my fault. I didn't have them out here apparently, so.
Yeah, that was back in the old days. I think it's a good thing. I think everybody should look the bill. I mean, I think everybody should know where money goes.
Don't really care. They're gonna get paid anyways.
Good to know.
Doesn't do any good to know anyways, does it?
Well, it kinda does. Got any questions on it? Don's mixing them all up for you.
That's okay, Eric.
It's
will get
actually,
them.
it's a.
Oh, it's for Eric,
it's a
never
group
mind.
effort.
Yeah.
I like messing things up.
I'm not helping him, I'm putting on this credit.
Yeah, you're not.
It's okay. We'll go back through them.
You throw them all up in the air. Throw them up in the air and those little paper clips come off. And
Yeah, I got rid of a paper clip already.
There's one paper.
That one was.
What's that?
We're in Maine. That's, like water, stuff like the bell box and stuff. Bell box and mud plug, yeah, that's for like,
Yeah, I was trying to-
that would be like,
Next month, sign 20.
like for or not for manhole water valves, you know? It's the standpipe.
They call it a mud plug?
Well, plug, yeah, they
I
put it in the hole to
reach
keep
out to somebody from the
crap from getting in there.
Okay.
about that.
So it's really much, no?
Yeah,
It's not automatically.
no, because the one I looked at today, the last contract was signed in of 2020
Okay.
for 36 months.
Because that thing with the golf course has been brought up many times in the past about funding.
Yeah.
A lot of
I'm
people
gonna make
didn't,
sure.
don't even golf or whatever, and
I know.
We
why I question a lot of
That's
this.
gonna take some thinking on that one.
Yes, I agree.
The thing is, our economic development is a whopping half a cent or whatever. You know,
Yeah, 0.05.
right. And the, yeah, for infrastructure and then for streets, you know,
Yep.
so is
And then the-
infrastructure paying off a debt? That's something we need to look at. You know,
So what I disagree with is the $700,000 in debt.
so I wasn't really sure, I mean, that's why I wouldn't mind some records, because I thought he originally said 800,000 in debt, and then we give them $315,000, and there's still $700,000 in debt.
How does that work?
And then he said they had other people, you know, giving them money too, and I was like, okay, what's going on here? Not like that. But I figured I would wait until we get some actual figures, you know, because,
I agree.
Probably won't wait to talk about that, I guess, until we have those figures, any more discussion.
right,
yet.
exactly, I agree.
Just
I agree.
so we're done with.
No, I know, I get it, I get it.
What's going on there, Keith? Hitching them around? Yeah, you got them all screwed up, I can't even see what I'm doing here, I gotta flip them all over.
I thought I was being helpful.
Yeah, I don't know,
No,
but
it's not wrong.
thank you.
Now he's gonna flip them all over the
I
road.
know. Flip them this way then.
I was trying to calculate how you were going to interact with them, because then I could see, okay, if I flip them this way, then there'll be continuity, you know, but, you
Yeah,
know, that
I like
you're
that.
unpredictable. So.
Very unpredictable. That's the interesting thing about life, unpredictability. Never know how the worm is gonna turn. As the worm turns.
We have a motion to pay bills.
I make a motion, we pay the bills.
Question on the bills.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes. Thank you, everybody. Next meeting, December 11th, 2023, meeting adjourned. Thank you.